Hello, everybody, and welcome to another amazing episode of Keever's Place, the Keever Murdaugh Show and Podcast. So we are here tonight on this beautiful Thursday evening, as promised, and we are here with a special show tonight. I know Monday I told you that I will be in my studio alone, but I forgot that we had a special guest already scheduled for today. So I'm super excited to have her here. She is no stranger to Keever's Place, the Keever Murdaugh Show and Podcast. She has been here before, and I think perhaps twice. She can probably correct me on that. But I'm going to introduce to you Miss Fouchina Kirkendoll. So let me tell you a little bit about her before our introduction of the show. And then after our intro, I'm going to bring her straight in. But she is a certified coach practitioner. She's a motivational speaker. She's a mother of two, grandmother of one, and she is the CEO of Chronicles of a Favorite Woman from Duluth, Georgia. She was once a victim, but now she says she is a survivor of childhood sexual abuse. She was once touched, but she says now she is redeemed. And out of this experience is where Chronicles of a Favorite Woman was birthed. She sees it as her personal responsibility to be able to educate and show other women how to also pull through traumatic experiences. And that's why I'm so excited to have her in our studio tonight, because we're talking about trusting the process. So who else would be a more better fit to engage with me in this conversation about trusting the process, no other than Miss Fouchina Kirkendoll. So you know what we do every Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So go ahead and make yourself comfortable, grab your favorite drink, sit back and enjoy the ride, because you're finally at home at Keever's Place. So don't go anywhere, family. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Keever's Place, the Keever Murdaugh Show and Podcast. We hope that by the end of our show, you're left feeling empowered, motivated, and connected. So come on in the room, grab your favorite drink, sit back, and enjoy the ride, because you're finally at home at Keever's Place. Now give it up for our host and producer, Coach Keever Murdaugh.
So thank you for joining us again at Keever's Place, the Keever Murdaugh Show and Podcast. So without any further ado, let's introduce and bring into our studio Miss Fouchina Kirkendoll. So how are you, Queen?
Good evening. How are you? And I am kicking like a chicken.
You are what?
Kicking like a chicken.
Kicking like a chicken. I love it. That's that.
We're from the country.
I love it. I love it. Welcome back to Keever's Place.
It's good to be back.
Yes, you know I love you. I love you. I love you to life. And we always have the most in-depth conversations. And we had off camera before, and we were talking about this very same topic. And I was like, you know what? We got to do this live, because I feel like there's a message that needs to be shared. And you said something right before we went live. You said this was what week?
This is Resurrection Week. This is Resurrection Week. And if anybody knows about trusting the process, Jesus himself is a perfect example about trusting the process.
Yes. So before we dive into our topic on tonight, just tell our viewing audience a little bit more about you.
Sure. My name is Fouchina Kirkendoll. I am the CEO of Chronicles of a Favorite Woman. Yes, I am a mother of two and a grandmother of one, nieces and nephews everywhere. But I just have a love and a passion for people. I've always been an advocate of people, hence the reason why I'm a certified coach practitioner as well, because I want to encourage people the power of their voice. There's power in our voice. And when we utilize it, once we acknowledge it and recognize it, there's nothing that you cannot do and no places you cannot go with it. So I'm just looking forward to coming on board and chopping it up with Ms. Keever as we normally do. And I pray that this will be a blessing to anyone who may be going through. I'm just here to let you know you're not alone. You're not alone.
Exactly. And we both share very similar experiences, being, touched as
Hmm.
children or young adults. So tell me a little bit about how, when we say trusting the process, right? That's a very loaded statement. What exactly do you mean when you say it's important for us to trust the process?
Now, that's a very good question. We all go through processes in our life, whether it's physical, spiritual, mental, emotional. There's always some type of process. I could just use mine, for example. Being a survivor of childhood sexual molestation, I went through a process. I went through that process, one, of being violated, and then two, even though I thought I was protecting myself, doing the best that I can, there was a process because there were roots that came from the assault or the violation, and there were so many things that contributed and watered it. The rejection watered it, the abandon watered it. And it just kept feeding the garden. And in the garden, you have your plants, and then you have your weeds. Okay, and so you have those weeds that will just choke the life out of you slowly but surely. As survivors, we do what we can to get through. But oh, when we get to that point when God says enough is enough, and now it's time for us. And even though when He gets to that point, we still like, I want to do it, but I don't want to do it. I trust you, Lord, but I don't trust you. And the truth of the matter is, you start asking that question: why, Lord? Why was I molested? Why was I the one always touched? Why was I the one always rejected? Why was I one people always looked at me differently? Why? And then it goes back, and God answered it very simply: why not you? Why not you? When I read my Bible and I look at the people in the Bible, everyone comes from a story. Everyone comes from a story, and they had to go through the process. I'll use Moses as an example. First of all, he was already targeted when he came into the world, and he was saved. Went through the process of being in the palace, and then we're gonna find out who he is, and then going through the process when God called him and said, "Okay, I need you to go back, and I need you to free my people." So Moses like, you want me to go back? I mean, I stutter a lot. I mean, I'm not gonna be able to communicate. Yeah, I want you to go back. And I look at it as myself. When I saw myself as, actually, I had no self-esteem of myself. And people find that hard to believe, but I really didn't. I just did whatever I could to survive. Once I got to that point where I recognized who I was and whose I was, and that was a process to get to it. I had to go through the rejection. I had to go through the violation. I had to go through the slander. I had to go through the promiscuous stage. I had to go through people not understanding and judging me without getting to know me. I had to go through the heartbreaks and the heartaches because I didn't understand what a real relationship or what love truly is. I had to go through all that. But as a result of going through all that, I was able to see. So your process may not be my process, but how many of you all have a process you've gone through, whether it's abuse, whether it's rejection, whether it's an addiction, whatever that process is? That's what we're talking about, trusting the process. We don't understand why. We don't understand why. But your process is going to build it's your test. And your test is going to build a testimony. And your testimony is designed to help someone else who will be going through that same test. You can show yourself as proof that if he did it for me, he will do it for you.
Exactly. And that was so beautifully said. And you hit so many great points. I want to take a step back, though. I want to take a step back. Because when we're talking about trust in the process, I want to make sure that people have a good understanding, like they can really grasp what those terms actually mean. And you broke it down beautifully as far as the meaning, what that might look like, or what it should look like on a biblical and a spiritual level. But I'm going to
Mhm.
pull up a slide and I want to break down the definition of trust. So, in the dictionary, when we define the word trust, it's defined as a firm belief in the reliability, the truth, the ability, or the strength of someone or something. So you can kind of think about that like when you're in a relationship, right? And when we say,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't worry about my significant other, I trust them
Mhm.
to do exactly what they supposed to be doing, right? I
Because
remind
that's my man. Mhm.
exactly, exactly, because we have developed that faith in them to the instinct of believing that they would not do anything to harm us, right?
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
application has to apply in our spiritual walks. It has to
Mhm.
apply in everything that encompasses us as a human being. So when we are saying, Lord, I trust you, we're saying, Lord, I put my whole heart, I put my faith,
Mhm.
I trust everything that you have already outlined in my life, especially, and this is very hard to say, Fouchina, especially those things that are ugly or those things that I do not understand, right? But
Mhm.
I trust you. And that's very hard for us to say because
Yes.
when things are going great in our lives, of course, everything falls in line. We are in love with Christ. We love God. We love
Mhm.
this because there's no stumbling blocks. There's no
Right.
hiccups. There's nothing going wrong at that moment. But as
Mm.
soon as struggle comes, as soon as the storms in our life kick up, as soon as sickness comes, as soon as death comes, that's when our faith starts to waver. So we
Mhm.
very careful when we say, Lord, I trust you, because just like my sister just said, we are tested and we are trialed and we are.
Mm.
Tell me what you think about this. We are tested by what we say out of our mouth, right? So if
All
we
the
say, I trust you, don't you think God's going to test you to make sure that what you're saying is true, that you are a true representation of you
time.
trusting and having faith? What do you think about that?
Mhm. I believe, like, you can't walk like a dog and talk like a cat. So
Hello.
if you say that I trust you, then I mean you wholeheartedly trust me. So when the storms get rough, know that I'm still there. When someone says no, God got your yes in his timing, not in your timing.
Mhm.
When when the money is low, know he still got you. No, you still got put in that faith is, oh gosh, faith is such a powerful word and it's strong. You say I trust you. Okay. Don't trust. Okay, let me just have a honest moment. We'll say that we trust God. I'll say I trust God, but then yet I'm calling up somebody because I want a validation.
Mhm.
We have a tendency of doing that. We call up somebody like, God, I need a validation. I mean, God, you say you trust me, but I just need to get that confirmation. And I'm going to man and be like, excuse me. No, I said I will do this. And once we start doing that, we go further away. And then we wonder why the struggle is real for us. But we have to hold on and know that when he is quiet is when he's working the most and working the best out for you. You have to trust him now, believe him later.
I love that. And you just hit the nail right on the head, and it's at those moments where, and I kind of I have to kind of blame society in a way. And what I mean by that is we are designed to want
Mhm.
to feel that validation, right? Like it's so
Mhm.
important because we are almost programmed in a sense to where um, we seek that validation out when we are in school. We
Mhm.
have to take these series of tests to make sure that we comprehend the information that's been taught to us. So I kind of feel like this whole process has us pre-programmed to seek out this external validation. But like you said, our validation and our reliability and the validity of God himself and what he can do for us is already laid out for us. We just
Mm-hmm.
walk and trust the plan that he has already outlined for us.
Mm-hmm.
I,
Mm-hmm.
I want to, before we move on, I also want to define process because we are throwing around the word process a lot too. So I want to make sure that people have a good understanding of what that definition is. So the process is defined as a series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end. It's also a natural or involuntary series of changes. So when we think about process, I love that it says it's a natural and sometimes
Mm-hmm.
involuntary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most of our
Mm-hmm.
processes, it is involuntary in the aspect
Mm-hmm.
of sometimes we don't see it coming. And if we're
Nope.
honest with ourselves, sometimes we get ourselves into certain situations as well. And then we are expecting God to deliver us out of it, which he does in his own time. But I
Mm-hmm.
believe that what things that we are faced with, it's a learning opportunity, it's a teaching
Mm-hmm.
opportunity, and it's not only for us. So what do you want to add to that?
That there are no things people say I made a mistake, I made a mistake. Mistakes are nothing but lessons. You know not to do that again. So guess what? When you go at it again, it's a lesson. You know that doesn't work, so you try something else. So what I say, and I think I may be getting off the path a little bit, but when I think about that process, we're gonna fall. We're designed for that. No one's perfect, but when you fall, don't stay down. Just get up, dust yourself off, and let's keep it moving. Aaliyah has this song that says, if at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. It's one of my favorite songs because it's so true. Hey, we can't get all bent out of shape. I mean, yeah, have your moment. You got to scream, you got to cry, you got to do whatever. But every day is not a scream, cry moment. It's one of those, okay, let me get myself together and let's move forward. And the word that comes to me is resilience. You have to be resilient regardless of what's going on. And whatever we're going through at that particular time, whatever your process is, your process could be, divorce. Your process could be getting over death. Your process could be whatever your situation is, but it's still a process. And, the thing about processes is you can't go around it. You can't go above it. You can't go under it, and you can't walk beside it. You have to go through it. You got to go through whatever it is you got to go through. For me, I had to go through the depression. I had to go through the thoughts of suicide. I had to go through. And when I look, there's a song that says, when I look back over my life and I think things over, I could truly say that I've been blessed. Oh yes, I'm blessed. I remember my brother telling me, China, if you don't think you've gotten very far, look at when you came to Georgia when my son was 1 year old, and look at you now. Look at the heart attacks, the strokes, the whatever. Look at all of that you've gone through, and still processing the backlash of being molested and stuff, even in my adult years, going through the whatever I went through, the addictions and stuff. When I look back to where I am now, it was because of all the heartaches. It was because of all the challenges. It was because of the betrayal. It was because of this. It was because of that. And because of all the tears I cried, because all the times I still wanted to take myself out, but had to stay here because I had children depending on me. I still have to go through the process. I didn't like it. It didn't feel good. But as a result of it, I've become stronger. I've become wiser. I've become more in tune with my Lord. And I do hold on to his uncontingent, his hands. You do not lose him. Regardless of him being silent or if he's being loud, he is always there. He just wants you to have the faith of a mustard seed. That's all he asks. Do you know how small a mustard seed is? He just wants you to have that faith, but you got to trust him to go through the process. Look at Jesus. We're talking about resurrection week, how he went through this time. This is the time when he is about to get a beat down. Okay. I have to just call for what it is. He got a beat down. He got falsely accused. He was betrayed. They didn't believe anything he said. He went through a lot. For who? He didn't go in for it by himself. He went through it for us. For us. And if he can go through that process, as painful as it was, and still say, forgive them, Lord, for they know not what they do. Who are we not to do the same? Who are we not to do the same? Yes, we might have been hurt. Yes, we might have been abandoned. Yes, we might have been all of those things. But through it all, he's brought us through. And look at us now. If you think you have not gone through something, if you think that you're all alone, think of a situation where you know that you could not have gotten out of it. You know good and well you could not have gotten out of it. And you're here to talk about it now. Please know it ain't you. It ain't mama, grandmama, nobody. They might have prayed for you, but it was through God's grace that got you through. All I'm saying is process is not easy, but it's the steps. Look at where you were then and where you are now. And think about the steps along the road of what you had to go through to get to where you are. Be proud of yourself. Be proud of yourself. And just go like Jacob's ladder. Every rounds go higher and higher and higher and higher. Now, I know I probably said more than I was supposed to say. I can't help it.
That was perfect. That was so perfect and eloquently put. Donnie McClurkin has a song that says, we fall down,
yes,
but we get up. And I think you just hit the nail right on the head. The process is not about us falling down, because we are going to fall. The question becomes, what do you do when you are struck down? Do you roll? Do you tuck and roll? Or do you to begin that process of getting yourself back up, brushing yourself off, assessing the situation, learning from the situation, growing from the situation, and getting on but the Lord's business. And I want to encourage the people out there, just like Fouchina just said, don't get so wrapped up in the process of the struggle. But I can recall, and people don't know much about me, but I was homeless. There was a point in my life where I was homeless with my family. We were living in a hotel room for months, and money was tight. It was so tight, but we still continue to pray. We still continue to hold on to our faith. And when I look back over those months that we were in this one studio hotel room, I don't even remember exactly when he brought us out of that. But there was the same way, it was a process in going through that moment. There was a process of coming out of that moment, right? And like she said, it's like taking steps. There's one step that gets you higher and higher and higher, forward and forward and forward. But the key to that is continuously moving forward, continuously looking forward, continuously believing forward, continuously thinking forward, and continuously trusting him forwardly. And if we do that, He will bring us out of any situation that we are going through. And just because we are his children, just because we profess Christ, just because we profess salvation, and this is one myth that I want to dispel right now today. Just because we say we are his, it does not exempt us from suffering, right? In
That's
fact, the
right.
Bible tells us that we will have moments, we are we're going to suffer long. We're going to have long suffering, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have to, if we say we are a thing, we're going to be tested and trialed by that very thing that we are professing, right? So if we are
Mm-hmm.
professing that, Lord, I will follow you anywhere, okay, let's see if you're going to really follow me anywhere, through anything,
Mm-hmm.
through, any circumstances. So we have to be careful what you say, because you're going to be tested by what comes out of your mouth, number one.
Mm-hmm.
But number two, the process, there's a purpose behind every process, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
say all the time, and tell me if you agree with this, God's going to test his strongest soldiers, right?
Oh,
And
yes.
and the things that we think is too much for us, the things that you just feel like, Lord, just one more thing and I'm just going to be
Mm-hmm.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And God is saying, like, no, you're not. And I'm going to show you. I'm going to prove to you.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you are going through this, I'm right here with you.
Mm-hmm.
You will never
Mm-hmm.
leave us.
Mm-hmm. Nor forsake us. And, I'm gonna go back on something you said that I didn't address. And yes, there's power of life and death in the tongue. Be careful what you put out there. Like I can't stand when people say, "Oh, I'm always gonna be fat." Oh, I'm always going to be this. I say, well, if you say that, that's what you're putting on yourself. That's what you're going to do. And I tell people, be careful of the things that you say. And I'm guilty of it. For when I was younger, I was like, really, all these things I was saying to myself, oh my goodness, you have to be careful of what you say, because what you put out there is what you're going to get back. You just have to remember that. Stand strong. And if you want to see greatness, then speak greatness into your life. Don't worry about the naysayers. Don't worry about them, and don't worry about that. The naysayers are just designed what they're supposed to be. Because see, just like how God hears you, the enemy hears you too.
Mm-hmm.
And God, the enemy can't do anything without God's permission. You say you trust me, right?
That's
Look at
right.
Job in the Bible. Look at Job in the Bible. You know, that man went through, lost everything, had everything, lost everything, but went through the process, went through the rejection from friends, and losing his family and his own wife. And he said, no, I'm going to stand firm and I'm going to do it. And as a result, after he got through the process, God gave him double for his trouble. And I
Amen.
say all that to say this: when you go through the process, when you go through the pain of the rejection and the whatever you go through, when the process is over, you go actually, it's just like birthing a baby. You remember when we were pregnant with our children, we go through the 9 months, we go through the morning sickness, we go through this, we go through that, and then we go through the labor.
Mm.
And for those, I had my first child naturally, 12 hours, 45 minutes. I never forget it. Naturally. But once I birthed that baby, I didn't think about all the sickness I had prior to that. I didn't think about the 9 months. I didn't think about the uncomfortable. I was so happy with that bundle of joy. And that's what the process is when you're going through. You're going to go through all that. But when that time comes and it's time to birth that baby, you won't even think about it. You won't. What you will say is, thank you, Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Because if I didn't go through, I wouldn't be here now. He's building your endurance. He's building your faith, because once you get through one, it's going to be another. And
Exactly.
as you go higher, you're becoming stronger. Each process you go through makes you stronger for the next level.
Yes, yes. And that just reminded me, as soon as you birth that baby, like you said, girl, you forgot about all the pain.
Yeah,
You end up having more children because we just
that's
forget
right.
about that whole process
Mm-hmm.
because we are looking
Mm-hmm.
at that end result, the reward, the blessing. And that's exactly what my sister is talking about. The reward is always
Yes.
greater than the sacrifice.
Yes. And
I
then
love
you'll learn to appreciate the birth because you had to go through the sacrifice.
mhm.
And believe it or not, for me, I'm happy that I went through what I went through. Did I like it? No. But I'm happy I went through what I went through because it's made me wiser, but it made me stronger. It made me stronger. And now when I look at certain things, I don't see it the same way anymore. I tell people, be mindful of people who's always smiling, who don't say nothing, who just let you do whatever you want to do. Be careful of those people right there. That's one of God's now. When he tell, I tell people, and I heard my pastor says this, meekness is nothing but strength under control. And just because I don't say nothing anymore doesn't mean I don't want to say something, but because I trust God and I'm going to let him handle it. And when I've learned I've let him handle it, I end up being blessed in the end because I did what is right, even though
Exactly.
I wanted to do something else. So you
Yep.
can't beat you can't beat it. It just it's necessary for growth.
I
It's
love
necessary.
it. I love it. Yes, yes. This has been so good. I can't believe
Yeah.
it's been already 30 minutes. Oh my gosh. This, you know, and I just feel like I just feel within my spirit that somebody needed this show tonight.
Mm,
They needed to hear these testimonies. They needed to hear
yes.
these statements of affirmations. They needed to understand that even though you may be in a bleak moment right now, that there is a reward, there is a blessing on the other side. But we have
Hmm.
we have to get through these moments. We have
That's
to,
right.
right? So
That's
don't
right.
be so hard on yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, when you don't understand the process. Don't be so
That's
hard
right.
on yourself and don't be so quick to say, I give up either, right?
Yes.
Because just like my sister said earlier, when God is solid, that's when He's working the hardest for you, but you're not
Yes.
going to see it at that moment. So I just
Right.
want to encourage you to just don't give up. Don't give up on yourself, but
Hmm.
more importantly, don't give up on God. Because
Amen.
I promise you, if you keep your hand in His, He'll definitely keep you in His bosom. But we
Yes.
cannot give up on Him.
Yes. I totally agree. Just remember, I tell people, think about a seed. A seed is, if you're doing a turnip seed or whatever, you plant it in the ground, then you water it and sprout it. You water it and fertilize it, and then it becomes what it is. But the seed is most powerful when it's in the ground. The seed is most powerful in the ground. It's in the dark.
Mhm.
That's how sometimes we are when we have situations. We're in the dark. We think that people are just slandering us, putting us down, doing us wrong. That's all fertilizer. That's all going on top of that. Every time they pile stuff up, it's just fertilizer and just fertilizer. But when that seed is in the ground, it's fertilized and it's water, it starts to germinate. And then as it's starting to do that, then it sprouts up. Now God is like, okay, you've done enough, you've endured enough, it's time to lift you up. So it sprouts up. Then the sunshine, which would be grace and mercy, comes in and starts showering us down and showering us down. Next thing you know, we're growing into a plant. Now we are full blown and we are here and say, boom, the blessing is here. Now do my work.
Yes. You better preach, preacher.
That's God talking.
Girl, yes. I
That's
was
it.
feeling all of that.
I'm telling you from personal experience. Trust it. Regardless of what your situation is, Don't give up. Do not give up, because that's what the enemy wants. You're already destined for greatness. He's already promised you the gift. Now he's coming back and taking you through the process. Don't give up. Don't give up. And even if you get weary, some people get worried. We all guilty of it. Shake it off. Shake it off, because he's waiting. He'll let us wander off, but he's still waiting for us to come back so we can start the path again. Stay focused. Stay strong. Go to your faith file. I tell people all the time, when you get in doubt, when the enemy starts coming against you, go to your faith file. Remember that time when you went through this and he brought you through. Remember when he got you through this and you still here. Those are your faith file. And if he can get you through those times, he'll get you through it again. But you went through the process before. So you've been going through the process all before. You just got to go back and like, oh yeah, I remember. And as a result, hold on to his unchanging hands. He's never going to leave you or forsake you.
Amen.
Never.
Amen. Amen. If you had, what's your most favorite scripture? And then I will share mine. But what is your favorite scripture that always, that you can just depend on? It's going to just put you in that right mindset. It's going to give you the fuel you need to make it through that process.
Oh, I got quite a few, but I would have to say Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you. Yeah, plans to see. I'm paraphrasing and not to fail. He has plans for you from the moment before you came into your mother's womb. He had already had plans for you. Okay, but just know the enemy knows it too. But just God got you. He got you. So it will be that. That would be one of the top ones for me.
Mm-hmm. And mine would have to be Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all thy heart and lean not to your own understanding.
Yes.
In all, not
yes.
all
that's right.
Your ways acknowledge him, and he
all the time
direct your path.
Yes. I love it. Yeah.
Well, Queen, this has been amazing as usual. It's so spirit-filled. I just love when you come to visit us, and you already know you're welcome back anytime.
Both ways, honey. Both ways.
Yes. We swap platforms quite a bit, so you guys definitely check her out. She has a blog talk radio. Tell them a little bit more about your radio show.
Yeah, it's an internet radio show. It comes on every Sunday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's basically a platform for people to tell their story. Everyone has a story. Everybody has been through. And that's what the Chronicles is all about. It started off with my story as being a survivor of abuse. And then it's just elevated. And now we're ending our third year. So we start our fourth year on August 11th. I'm excited for it. Be on the lookout, because I got something I want you to do. So be on the lookout. But now we're even incorporating men. I had someone say, Chena, men go through things too. Why don't you, So now they have embraced me, and it has been awesome. It is, and you can always find me on this stream, www.blogtalkradio.com / Chronicles of a Favorite Woman. But I also do a Facebook Live page on my personal page right now. It's getting ready to go to the Chronicles page, but it's Fouchina Kirkendoll, and it's Fouchina. My last name is Kirkendoll, Kirkendoll. I also have a Chronicles Facebook page, which is Chronicles of a Favorite Woman. Now, as we are moving forward, I am going to remove my live off of my personal page and put it onto my Chronicles page. And that is to come soon, very soon. But if you're not familiar with it, please go to the Facebook page, Chronicles of a Favorite Woman. Like the page. I appreciate it. If you go to Blog Talk Radio, like the page as well. I've been very blessed and fortunate to have so many different guests, including Miss Queen over here, who just brings so many dynamic stories and testimonies for people to share. If you have a story, it needs to be shared. If you've been delivered or what, and you're ready to share it, I'm not, I always tell people do it when you're ready. So your testimony was designed to help somebody else to get through the process. And people need to know, like I did, I was alone. I felt like I was alone and by myself. And kind of find out there were so many people who went through what I went through or who was going through what I was going through. But it wasn't until I started speaking up about it as when because look, it takes a village to raise a child. And that's a true statement. So you can reach me on Sundays at 9:30, Chronicles of a Favorite Woman, Blog Talk Radio, or you can go to Facebook page and you can do Chronicles of a Favorite Woman or Fouchina Kirkendoll. If you need to reach out to me via email, you may do so by emailing me at C as in Charlie, OAFwoman @gmail.com. So I look forward to hearing from you. And it's been a pleasure as always, my queen. Anytime.
Amazing, amazing. And like she said, y'all, don't sit on your testimony and share it on so many different platforms too. Because you just don't know whose lives you are saving and whose lives you are reaching. Okay, the tests and trials that we have endured, it ain't for us. It is not
No.
for us. There is always a bigger picture, and I know that we get so wrapped up in it because we are the ones who personally going through it. But the battle is not for us. It's for us to share
Lord. Yes.
they can too overcome, how they can get through their own situations. So we have a responsibility. I believe that we have a responsibility to teach the next one and to bring up the next one. So don't sit on what God has already done for you. Share it, get it out there. Get in contact with Fouchina Kirkendoll. She has a wonderful Blog Talk Radio and it's very inspirational. She has a wonderful following and she will be able to help you get your message out there in a very respectful and professional way. And of course, you can always contact Keever's Place as well. So get your story out there. Don't sit on it because it's not your test is not for you. It's for you to share it. It's for you to use it as a teaching, and it's for you to help empower somebody else. Queen, I'm going to allow you any final words that you would like to end with, anything we probably didn't have time to hit on. The show went by so fast.
That means that's a good thing. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Exactly.
So any final words you have, the floor is now yours.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you again for allowing me to be on the platform. What I want to tell people is this. The enemy is out to destroy. That his job is to kill, steal, and destroy. And he will do that. But he has to have a key to do it. And you're the key. Don't give him that. If you want to do anything, go to your faith file. There is strength. There's power. There is peace that will come out of your process. Just remember, you can't go around it. You can't go over it. You can't walk beside it, but you have to go through it. Find your peace. And sometimes going through the process is the way of finding the peace. But once you go through the process, think about the reward in the end. And all you can say is thank you. Think about that time when you had a situation and you didn't get through, or you didn't feel you can get through, and you're here to talk about it. And I'm telling you, for anyone right now who's going through, don't give up. Don't give in to the temptation. Stay focused and remember who has you at all times.
I love it. Thank you so much, Queen. And I want to just leave them with this final scripture, the one that I quoted earlier. And I'm just going to pop it on the screen. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he shall direct your path. So if you just keep this scripture close to your heart, despite anything you are going through, completely put all of your trust in him and he will not lead you astray. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Of course, you can
Thank
come
you for
back.
having me.
You are so welcome. And I just love you to life, and you're welcome back anytime.
Same.
And
Thank you.
family, definitely join us next Monday night. We're going to have another amazing special edition show with the VIP speakers of Build Your Wealth Conference. So come back next Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have some of the VIP speakers, and we will be back next Thursday night as well, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with another amazing show. So you know how we do it. Continue to share, connect, and glow, because building your network also builds your net worth. So thank you so much for watching. Peace and blessings. Y'all have a good night. Bye.
Good night.
Thank you for watching Keever's Place, the Keever Murdaugh Show and Podcast. Tune in every Thursday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Keever's Place. To be a guest on our show, text the word guest to 803-368-3030 or visit us at tinyurl.com/Keever's Place Book. And watch us on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire as we're broadcasting in more than 60 million homes worldwide.